Okay, today we have a little bit more advanced grammar lesson, N5 grammar lesson for you. Today we're going to be talking about how to describe things. So first, please imagine you're at a party with your Japanese friend again, and he says, "Pizza o tabete iru hito wa jou da." And he basically just said, the person that is eating pizza is Joe. And you want to meet this Joe, so you say, hajimemashite. Nice to meet you. This is a very casual way to say nice to meet you, hajimemashite. In a formal situation, of course, you'd say yoroshiku onegaishimasu in a business contact or something, business context. But when you're speaking with friends in a casual situation, hajimemashite is how you introduce yourself. Basically, nice to meet you. And your friend used a clause to describe the person. Before that part, he has pizza o tabete iru. Eating pizza person is the literal translation of that. And these clauses are very useful to add more descriptions for certain items. And basically how you form them is you put what I call a casual clause before the noun. Basically a casual sentence. And you can use this to describe a lot of different things. So for example, here we have another example sentence. Mita eiga wa omoshirokata. So the movie that I saw was interesting. And usually in these clauses we use ga instead of wa because it's more specific. A specific person did this. In this particular situation, I'm talking about myself in this example sentence. So we dropped it. That can be understood from context. But if you wanted to write the full sentence, we would say, Watashi ga mita eiga wa omoshirokata. The movie that I saw was interesting. So usually we use ga in these clauses before the noun. And it's always in casual tense. On the JLPT N5 test, everything is in polite Japanese. So they use mas and des. Mas for verb endings, des for if you're linking some things using the copula. Basically is what des usually translates as. And this is the polite form of Japanese. But for these clauses, we need to use the casual tense always. Usually inside a sentence, we usually use the casual tense. So they're formed a little bit differently, and they're a little difficult to conjugate, but very useful grammar point. And one thing to be aware of here is tenses. So, for example, if you look at these two sentences, first one, "Tsukutta ryori wa oishikatta desu." So, this first one, the food that you cooked, like right now, was delicious. So, talking about a particular dish that was cooked right now. The second sentence, "Tsukuru ryori wa oishii desu," we're talking about the food that you cook is delicious, that you cook on a regular basis. So be careful of these tenses when you're forming these clauses. Past tense in Japanese usually means something has reached a completed state, whereas tsukuru is this present tense form. It can mean the future and now. So this is kind of a feeling of it hasn't been completed yet. It can be repeated in the future. So talking about all of your cooking, much like you would actually in English. But when you first start forming these, this is a really common mistake of mixing up your tenses. So be careful about what tense you use when you form these clauses. You can also use these clauses to talk about states. So, for example, if we wanted to talk about Mac, about me, Maku, And we want to imagine that Mac used to be a doctor, now he's a teacher. We could say this first sentence, Isha datta Maku wa sensei ni narimashita. So Mac, who was a doctor, became a teacher. And using this datta form to talk about a past state. And in the second sentence, this is a past negative state. For example, Isha janakatta Maku wa sensei ni narimashita. Mac, who wasn't a doctor, became a teacher. It's a little strange sentence. I don't think you'd find that in regular conversation, but kind of illustrates the point. This negative past state we can use to describe this noun. Now, you can't use this for positive present states. You can't use da. So as you can see here, datta, janakatta, these forms are okay. Or for present negative tense, we can use janai. But for present tense, you can't use da. So for example, you can't say Isha da maku. You have to use, you can use no. Isha no maku to describe that person. Noun, no noun. We'll go over that in a little later, how nouns can be used to describe nouns. But just know that is how you form the present. If you need to form the present, talk about a present state. Usually this is used for example, for tomodachi. So if you want to talk about your friend, tomodachi no Kenji. So this is my friend Kenji, basically, is how you translate that. Yes. So moving on, you're still at the party and you want to ask about a drinking game. These people are playing this drinking game over in the corner. You ask, Nani o shiteru no? So, and again, this is casual tense. Nani o is what object, and shiteru is playing, and no is a casual way to ask a question. Basically, you want to know the reason, or you're curious about why they're doing something, is the no there for casual questions. And so your friend responds, ping pong pan toiu geimu o shiteru. So they are playing a game called ping pong pan in Japanese. This is a very difficult drinking game to play. It's basically where you sit in a group of friends and first person says ping, then they have to point at someone else. They say pong, and then that person points at someone else and says pong, pan, ping, ping, pong, pan. And so they have to kind of continue in that order, pointing at each other. And of course, the first person that hesitates or says the wrong word has to drink. Very difficult game to play that can get you drunk very quickly. But your friend, he's using the structure that we use to talk about what things are called. And usually this can usually be a noun, but can be kind of broadened to a phrase. Plus toiu and then noun. So this object is called, phrase is how you translate that. For example, you've probably seen this example before, talking about people's names. Bobu toiu otoko desu. This is a man named or called Bob. And this is used for a variety of different things. People's names, book titles, movies, games, and things like that, when you want to talk about what something is called. So now you're at the end of the party and you're cleaning up, you're looking for some things and making sure everyone's got all their stuff. And you ask, Watashi no megane wa doko? So watashi no is my. Megane is your glasses. So my glasses. And doko is where. So my glasses where is a very casual way to ask where are my glasses. And your friend answers koko. So maybe he's pointing somewhere in his location to mean here. It's over here. Here in this location is where your glasses are. And you use the no particle. This particle has two different ways it can be used at the N5 level. One is to show possession. So as we used before, watashi no megane, my glasses. Watashi is I, and megane is glasses. And for example, we can use this noun plus no plus noun, or we can leave out the second noun if it's understood from context. So, for example, this sentence, kore wa bobu no desu ka? So maybe you're holding the bag, so you don't have to clearly show that this is, what I'm talking about. So you can say, this is Bob's. So I don't have to say, this is Bob's bag. Because I'm holding it, you can clearly see that I'm talking about a bag. Now, you're cleaning up some more after the party, and you want to ask, dare no kasa? So here you're asking about the possession of something. Dare no is whose, basically, is the translation in English. And kasa is umbrella. So dare no kasa, whose umbrella is this? Maybe I'm holding it in my hand, but you don't need to say kore. And your friend responds, watashi no tomodachi no bobu no. So this is a very long connection. I kind of purposely made this a little complicated. So first, watashi no is possession. So my is the translation. Tomodachi no is friend. You're describing Bob. As I mentioned before, this is a way to describe the state of Bob. He's a friend. And bobu no is the possession. So you've already mentioned kasa, the umbrella, so we can understand from context that you're talking about umbrella. So we don't have to say bobu no kasa at the end here. And so this is kind of mixing the two purposes, the two ways you can use the no particle. First was the possession. The second way to use the no particle is using it to describe nouns. So when you use a noun to describe a noun. Now we talked about before, of course, with e adjectives, you just put the e adjective before the noun. With na adjectives, you put na adjective plus na plus noun. But you can use nouns to describe nouns in this way. And it's often used with colors. So for example, Midori no hon, this is a green book. Or for example, tomodachi no, talking about your friend. And sometimes, yes, there is noun plus no plus noun. But other times, especially in formal Japanese, a lot of times they'll just smash the two nouns together. If it's a kanji word and another word that is just made out of kanji, sometimes they'll smash those two together. Or even if they're a mix of, for example, katakana and kanji, they'll mix those together to form one big compound word. But at a basic level, you can use this noun plus no plus noun to describe things that you want to talk about. So, for example, tomodachi and colors, like I said. Okay, let's finish up with a pop quiz. So first sentence to translate. The hat I bought is pretty. The hat I bought is pretty. And in Japanese, that would be kata boshi wa kirei desu. So kata is to buy, past tense. I bought. Boshi is hat, and wa is the topic marking particle. So we're talking about the hat. It's basically what that marks. And kire is pretty. And then des is the polite copula. Basically linking kire with boshi. So, second sentence, I'm reading a book called Zero. I'm reading a book called Zero. And the answer would be zero to iu hon o yonde imasu. So, again, we're using the toiu structure to talk about what a book is called. And in Japanese, they don't use the double quotes. They use these brackets, these kind of upper left bracket, lower right bracket to mark titles. So zero is in the brackets there, and toiu hon, it's a book called Zero. O is the object marking particle, and yonde imasu is the present continuous form. Basically taking the base verb, yomu, changing it to yonde, the te form, adding imasu makes it ing. So I am reading a book called Zero. Next sentence. This is my ballpoint pen. This is my ballpoint pen. And in Japanese, that would be kore wa watashi no boru pen desu. So kore wa is kore is this, wa is marking the topic, so we're talking about this. Watashi no is mine. Watashi is I. No is the possessive. We're using it for possession here, the no particle. Boru pen is ball pen, and desu is the polite copula at the end there. And last sentence, this is a work desk. This is a work desk. In Japanese, that would be kore wa shigoto no tsukue desu. So, kore wa, again talking about this. Shigoto is work. No, in this situation, is being used to for a noun to describe another noun, and tsukue is desk. And des is, of course, the polite copula at the end there to link it all together. So, real quick review: clauses in Japanese. It's usually a casual sentence, a casual clause, plus the noun that it's describing. At the N5 level, these aren't going to be too complicated. They're going to be kind of simple clauses. But this can get a lot more complicated as you go up in levels. So it's good to get the basic idea down pat here at the N5 level before you move up. Talking about what things are called, phrase plus toiu plus noun. We can use this for games, books, movies, to talk about what a certain thing is called. And the no particle has basically two uses: showing possession, plus using nouns to describe nouns. Don't get this confused with na adjectives, because na adjectives can sometimes act like nouns in Japanese sentences. Na adjectives need na, but nouns need this no. That's why it's kind of important when you're studying Japanese vocabulary to know what part of speech each one is or how it behaves, because sometimes even they can kind of blend and go back and forth, and sometimes one thing's a noun and an adjective, or they can kind of mix and match all over the place. So it's best to kind of be a little bit familiar with how different verbs or words are used in Japanese, especially since this does come up in the vocabulary section. The last part of the vocabulary section, there's a usage part. There's 5 questions on usage. Sometimes those questions deal with part of speech. Is this used as a verb? Is it used as an adverb? That kind of thing. So it's important to know what part of speech each word is. So that's it for clauses and how to describe things in the no particle in Japanese. If you know someone that happens to be studying for the N5 or has just started studying Japanese in general, I'm sure they would love to see this video. Be sure to send them an email, let them know about it, and help out your friend. All right? And that is it from me. Have a good time studying and talk soon. This has been a grammar explanation video from the JLPT Bootcamp premium site. Inside the site, you will find some extra goodies, for example, some cheat sheets for all of the videos. And those cheat sheets include a few things. For example, some common mistakes that people make, as well as some example test questions for the JLPT. If you're interested in taking the JLPT and you want that extra edge, something to kind of push you above and get the points that you need to pass, I encourage you to stop by the website at jlptbootcamp.com/premium. There you can find the cheat sheets as well as some extra practice with the grammar points that I've been talking about today. Hope to see you in the premium site very soon. This has been Mac from jlptbootcamp.com.